I'm Misha Hadaway, CEO and owner of Gentle Mama Counseling, and you're tuned into Ladies Power Lunch.
Hi, I'm Nadine Keller, CEO of Precision Sales Coaching and Training, and you are tuned into the Ladies Power Lunch Show.
Hi, I'm Debbie Sodergren, the CEO of Up Vibrations, and you are plugged into the Ladies Power Lunch Show.
Hi, I'm Christy Sullivan, human design expert, author, and speaker, and you are tuned into the Ladies Power Lunch Show.
Hi, I'm Keisha Zulo, president of Events of Joy, and you're tuned into the Ladies Power Lunch Show.
Hi, I'm Mary Colangelo. I'm an international fashion therapist, and you are tuned in to the Ladies Power Lunch Show.
Hi, I'm LaQuesha Clemons, the CEO of Freedom Life Therapy and Wellness. You are tuned in to the Ladies Power Lunch Show.
Hi, I'm Kiana Coachman Strickland, also known as DJ Q Boogie. I'm the founder of Female DJ Association, and you are tuned into the Ladies Power Lunch Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Grow Your Business Smarter, Live Your Optimal Life TV show. Hi, for those of you who don't know me, how do you not know me? Just kidding. I'm Dr. Davia Shepherd. I am the host of a women's group called Ladies Power Lunch. Ladies Power Lunch is a wonderful and special place where women in business, women who might own small businesses, they might be entrepreneurs, they might be solopreneurs, can find community. They can come in and they can network with each other. They can collaborate with each other. They can connect with each other. And our idea in our group is that when we come together, when we actually pool our resources, our brain trust, everybody wins. And so we're really, really focused on this idea that we can grow our businesses without working harder, because for the majority of us who are business owners, many of us have left that corporate 9-to-5 world and have moved into our own business, and we find ourselves working 24/7. Guys, there's no more time in our day. We have no more effort to give. So what would happen if we were able to grow our businesses a smarter way by coming together and pooling our resources? But not just that, as we're doing that, how can we make sure that we're not leaving behind our self-care and the aspect of it that is taking care of ourselves? How can we make sure that we're still leaving ourselves on our own list and we're not pushing ourselves to the side as we get busier and busier? So that's what our group is all about. And that's what this show is all about. Every single week, we bring you a special guest who shares with you her gifts and her talents so that you too, you grow your business smarter. So come on over and join us in our Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group. We're easy to find. Here's how. Grow smarter, not harder.com/Facebook. See how easy it is? I even tried to make the link easy for you to find us. Okay, on with the show. Today's special guest is very, very special. And the reason I say that is because the moment I met her, I knew I had to have her on the show. She is a financial therapist. Financial therapist, you say? What's that? Well, she is a licensed therapist, but she helps us through our money issues, our money blocks, the things that might be preventing us from making it to that 6, 7, 8-figure business that we might be dreaming of. And somebody said to me, I think it was somebody who was on one of our calls inside our Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group on Monday. She said to me that, if you're not seeing the success that you want to see in your business, check 2 things. 1, check if you're lacking a skill set. And if you're lacking a skill set and you can identify what that skill set is, go get it. Or check if it has something to do with what's going on with you on the inside. And LaQuesha is here today to share with us how we can really get in touch with what might be behind some of our money issues that might be our hold up from getting to our full money potential. So LaQuesha, welcome. We always love talking about money on this show. I feel like we don't talk about money enough. Hi, can you share with everybody who you are and tell us about the wonderful things that you're doing in the world?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for having me up here. I am super excited to talk about this topic of financial therapy and money mindset and financial wellness. My name is LaQuesha Clemons. I am a licensed clinical social worker and an accredited financial counselor, which makes me the financial therapist. I help people understand their emotions and behavioral habits when it comes to money so that they can hit their financial goals.
Wow. But I mean, okay, I understand the idea of being a social worker, a therapist, treating with patients, helping us all with our mental health, which is so important. And I understand too, being a financial counselor, how did you come to this point where you realized that marrying those two was really, really important?
Yeah, so we as a society should have definitely come together more sooner, should I say, with marrying these two together. Because for me, when I turned 18 years old, I could not wait to get a credit card. When I tell y'all I could not wait, I mean, I really could not wait. That week of my birthday, my 18th birthday, I applied and I got the credit card that I wanted. So I was just swiping away, and when I would get credit card offers, they would come in the mail, or I would be in the store, at a mall, and they offer you a discount if you sign up for a credit card. I was doing it. I was that one that they got me for sure. So eventually, after a few years of doing that, I racked up a lot of credit card debt, and it left me feeling really sad, and anxious about money, and wondering, okay, how am I going to pay my bills? I got to a point where I was working, but I was working to just pay bills. I could not save. So after doing some work on myself to figure out, well, why is this happening? Why am I in all this credit card debt? How did I get to this point? I then learned, looking behind, that a lot of our financial habits and behaviors we tend to pick up in our childhood. And something that my mom used to always say is, you just put it on a credit card and you pay it off over time. So that $25 a month or that $35 a month, you just pay it off over time, not really realizing the high interest rate that comes with credit cards. And also that eventually you can get to a point where you may not be able to even afford that minimum balance that you're supposed to pay. So once I put that connection together, I worked really hard to figure out, all right, what do I value? Where do I want my money to go? I started working on myself to see, let me get out of this, because I do not have to carry debt. I thought that was something I was supposed to do. I've been told the debt's always going to be there, so it is what it is. Like, you're just going to die with debt. Well, I didn't want to believe that. So I did work on myself. I was also a social worker at the time, and I was seeing clients who were also having similar money struggles or something different where it had something to do with finances, whether that be them not able to move past a certain level financially or hit their financial goals. So I'm like, how do we bring this together? How do I help others? I'm working on myself. I'm digging myself out of debt. I'm realizing, shaping and changing my mindset. How can I now start to help other people do the same thing? So I then put the two together and said, you know what? There has to be some type of money therapist, a financial therapy. It has to be out there. And it definitely is. I found the Financial Therapy Association and financial social work. And I was like, oh, this is very common among a lot of people, where money comes into place that affects how we handle everyday financial habits, everyday spending, how we emotionally can spend as well. The pandemic brought up actually a really good point of, people were at home all the time. So a lot of people, it was easy to just stroll and order off of Amazon, order whatever you wanted to come straight to your door. And people not realizing that a lot of things behind that was either boredom, maybe it was anxiety, not knowing what the pandemic was going to bring for us. It was, maybe there were some arguments going on within the home because you're home with everyone every single day. So there was a lot of emotions that was happening. So here I am now, bringing this information to others and trying to help people hit their financial goals. When I've been able to hit my goals, I now live credit card debt free, and now I'm passing this on to others and being able to show them that connection of how our cultures, our belief, and even situations that we in can form our financial habits.
That's outstanding. I love when folks oh, and by the way, everyone, if you hear like thunder, you can't hear lightning, but if you hear thunder in my background, we're having a thunderstorm, so bear with us, please. But like I was saying, LaQuesha, I love when we use our mess to become our message. I love that stuff. I love when the stuff that we have been through allows us to even better serve the folks who need our help because we can identify with what they're going through. We can really empathize in a way that is important for getting them to their solution. So this is great that you actually went through this yourself. I mean, I know while you were going through it, it wasn't great, but being able to look back at that now and say, hey, you know what? Going through this was not a bad thing because now I know firsthand and I can speak to this firsthand when I'm working with my clients. Tell me a little bit about who would be the best kind of person who would get the best benefit from working with you. A lot of the folks who watch our show, they are small business owners. They might, own some kind of brick and mortar based business where they are in charge of things. They might be solopreneurs. They might do online businesses. They might be some kind of entrepreneur, and they might struggle with the financial piece of their business. Who benefits best from you? And give us an idea of like some of the benefits that some of your clients have been able to experience.
Yeah, so I would say the people that benefit the best from working with me are usually those millennials. Usually they'll be between like maybe 27 and 45 or even 50. And that is because a lot of times they are then figuring out, or in that time span, that, hey, something's not working right. Something in my financial situation is not happening. Something isn't clicking, and they're questioning why this is happening. And it's usually in that age range when you start to realize and see those patterns that are going on. And then you come to me and you're like, I know there's something happening with my money, but I do not understand it. I may get some people that will come to me and they will say, well, I make really good money, but I never see it. It just disappears. I don't know where it goes. Another thing would come, especially with business owners, is they may come to me and they'll say, in my personal life, I'm struggling financially to understand what is going on. And I do not want this to reflect into my business life. So they'll come to me because they start to see that pattern and they know that they own a business. And a lot of times, especially being a business owner, how you handle money in your personal life will trickle over into your business life if you're not able to catch it soon enough. So an example would be a client, I have had clients have come to me and they are doing really, really well financially. Maybe they have this business that is now growing and blossoming and it's bringing them an abundance of money. However, they live in a place of scarcity where they feel like they are worried about spending money because maybe they have come from a place where they did not have enough money. They could have come from a place where they had to work often to make sure ends meet. They will come to me to work through some of those things because then they have an abundance of money, and you're saying, well, what am I supposed to do with this? This doesn't feel right. I feel like I don't deserve to have this kind of money. And when people say that, those are what I call limiting beliefs. Those things that you're going to say to yourself, those negative things that you say to yourself are going to hold you back, and it's going to hold you back within your business, and it's also going to hold you back within your personal life. So we try to dig deep into what that means for them and why that happens. And a lot of times too, it'll come from, maybe I'm working with someone who their family, again, we'll come back to the family and their roots of people they're around. They have never been business owners. They have never been someone who now is moving up in a chain ladder and making abundance of money. So that person tends to start to feel guilty about making money, or they feel like they just shouldn't have it because it's not around them. They're not used to this. So we'll dig deep and try to understand where those things come from and try to break a lot of those limiting beliefs that happen. Another way someone would come to me, as I mentioned, that they'll say, well, my money just seems to disappear. My money just seems to go away. And I don't know where, I have no clue where it's going. And what I have found is a lot of times people don't understand their values when it comes to money and really what you're putting that in. So there will be times when people are putting their money into things that they just don't enjoy, things that don't bring them any joy in their life, and they're just kind of mindlessly spending and not tracking. So we may look at trying to track your money, seeing where that's going, but also connecting your values with it. So I've had a client who she came from a place of scarcity mindset, and she didn't know what to do with her money. She was saving in the bank. She had a nice chunk that she was saving in the bank, but she was also really, really worried about the things that could happen. The pandemic came, and again, that brought a lot of worry among a lot of people. So for her, she's like, all right, I'm saving. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I'm worried about job layoffs. I don't know, what's going to happen. So we had to work on that scarcity mindset. She was worried about visiting her grandmother who lived like a few states over, because again, she was more worried about, oh, if I spend this money on a flight and a place to stay out there, like this is going to be too much money. Where we come back to that value. You value that quality time with your grandmother. You want that time with her as you're talking to me and telling me, her days may be limited and you want to see her. So why not put your money into that when that's something that you really, really care about? So she was able to do that. And she was also able to hit a lot of her other goals, such as going to Europe and visiting her friends and family that was over there. That was a big one. That was actually the one that she initially came to me for. Was, I haven't been to Europe in 10 years and I studied abroad there and I have friends and family out there and I really, really want to go. So she went, we worked on her mindset. We worked on her budget. We made sure financial plans were put in place for her and for her to feel comfortable about going. So those are some ways.
So what I'm getting from what you're saying is that being a financial therapist is more than just sitting and talking about the things that might have caused me to have these ideas about money, but there's also a practical aspect as well. That's interesting because I'm a practical kind of person. For those of you who've watched the show before and who know me well, my background is research. Like, I need to see those double-blinded placebo-controlled trials. I want to see exactly how we're getting to where we're getting. So can you share with us, share with our viewers, share with our listeners, some of the do's and don'ts for them to maintain, for all of us to maintain this financial wellness that you teach your clients?
Yeah, so the do's is definitely sit back and reflect. Reflection is extremely important when we live in a society where we're always going so fast, and everything is in a hurry and in a rush. And it's so important for us to sit back and just reflect upon what our day look like, what our week look like, and what our financial goals are. And you should have several different financial goals, whether that be weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly, and always sitting back to reflect upon those. The other do, I would say, is get support people around you. And when I say support people, I don't mean just anyone. I mean, especially for business owners, like visionaries, those who believe in what you're doing, those who understand what you're doing and support your vision and your mission of what you're trying to do. The third thing for that do is values. I'm a big person on values. Understand what your values are. What does that look like for you? Because a lot of times people do not understand what that is, what those values could be. A don't that I would say is trying to avoid things. And when I say things, I mean financially, trying to avoid like the credit card statement that comes in the mail, trying to avoid looking at your bank account. Don't do that. It will be there. It will always be there. And I tell people sometimes you have to rip that Band-Aid, you have to face it. But when you're worried and stressed, you tend to avoid it. And so I would say do not do that. And also those people, I come back to people, You want to keep those support people around. So do not have people who are going to crush your goals or your dreams. And sometimes that may mean you just need to have a little bit more distance from those people, but always remember, like, you have a goal, you have dreams, and you can reach them. So I think those are good do's and don'ts.
I love those. While you were talking, I was busy taking notes. I love that you say that we need to reflect on what our financial goals are. I mean, I know that for us as business owners, women in business, oh man, it gets busy, it gets hectic. I was just talking to my manager just now, and I was saying to her, look, I have no more space in my day for anything. And I wanted to like bring home the point to her that I have no time, because I come in, I treat patients. At some point, I have to do the chart notes. At some point in time, I'm also doing things for Ladies Power Lunch, because that's my passion, that's my love, that's just something that I really feel strongly about, that when women come together, we can succeed. And I feel like having that space is important. So I have to do that. Then I'm also a mom. So I'm sending the text messages to the other moms to get together, and I'm RSVPing to the 2 birthday parties that are coming up this particular weekend. Then I'm reading the emails about soccer practice that we missed last week because of the smoke. And so now everything's coming for this week. And then at some point in time, I do have to take care of things in my house. It's a lot.
Mhm.
And I'm not alone in this. Everybody has all of this. So reflecting on financial goals, like, yes, we definitely perhaps set at the beginning of the year or fourth quarter of the previous year, we set goals, but I'm not sure, LaQuesha, if we spend that much time reflecting on the goals, probably seeing where we are with our goals. Do you have any practical advice about how we can really stay on top of our goals?
Yeah, no, definitely. So the reflection when staying on top of your goals, that's why I say you set goals daily and also weekly, because it's so important for you to just sit there. If you have a quarterly goal or a yearly goal, you are going to look at, well, how do you get to that yearly goal? How do you get to that quarterly goal? And you're going to sit there and say, all right, well, how am I going to break this down into weekly? So what's my weekly goal? What's my daily goal? And now sitting there with yourself, I do a lot of journaling, and journaling to reflect again upon what the day is and what the weeks are looking like. And if I'm able to accomplish those goals that I have set. And if I am not able to, then why did that happen? What does that look like? Because you're right. We're busy. You know, you got your household to take care of, you have kids that's going on, you have other things that are happening. And maybe you may not be able to reach that goal, but it's good to reflect as to, okay, well, what is happening? Do I need to divvy up my time a little bit differently this week or next week? And how can I change that?
I like that. And I think one of the things that I may not say we, because this might just be me, I tend to overestimate how much I can get done in a in a time slot. I really, really do. And so I think as we are reflecting on our financial goals, there is an opportunity to make sure that we are perhaps being a little bit realistic when it comes to our time commitment. I I would just throw that in there for
Definitely.
my 2 cents, if anyone asked. Then you mentioned get support people around you, but you even qualified that by saying that you want to make sure that it's the people who believe in you and believe in what you do. Say a little bit more about that, because I can see how that can make a big, huge difference.
Yeah, definitely. It comes back to our mindset. And when you have those people that are around you that believe in you and know that and trust you and know that you have this and want to see you go further, then it gets you pumped up to be like, yes, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hit my financial goals. I got this. So that's why I say it's important to get, what I like to call more so is like visionaries around you, those people who also have visions and they know if you put your all into something, like you're going to get there. Versus there are some other people who, as I mentioned before, will say things like, Well, the debt's just always going to be there. It is what it is. And when you have people who think like that around you all the time, then you take that on and you start to believe, well, I guess they're right. It is always, that debt is always going to be there. So that's why I say it's important to get certain people around you when you have a goal of like, such as getting out of debt.
Yeah, that makes sense. Shameless plug for Ladies Power Lunch, but it's a wonderful place to network with others who might be like-minded. Like if I was talking about my financial goals, I would choose somebody an appropriate person in our Ladies Power Lunch group that could be, say, for example, an accountability partner with me, or who might be able to do a coaching share or something like that around my financial situation, as opposed to having conversation with my mom about it, because her approach is going to be very, very different as somebody who has always considered working for a corporation as being the way to go. Understanding the small business life is not necessarily where her mindset is. And so I see, and she's an amazing mom, please understand. So it doesn't take anything away from her role in my life, but it just means that for what I need to do when it comes to reflecting on my financial goals and getting support, she is not going to be it. I love that. You talk about values, and I also really, really do believe that we need to know what our values are. We need to be really firmly rooted in our values. And we need to make sure that when we're getting the support people around us, that they are the sorts of people who share our value system as well. What are you thinking?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. When it comes to values, I don't think we as people know, not everyone just knows what their values are, and they're kind of just going with the flow of things. And that's where even our time, our quality time that we spend, like, where do you value your time at? Where do you value your money? Like, you then have to figure out, well, what are my values, and what does that look like? People, and that's why a big part of financial therapy, we spend a lot of time talking about values, because those things that mean the most to you, you definitely have to put into.
Yes, yes. I love that. And for example, for me, I value the interaction time that I spend with our patients here in our practice. For me, when I walk in the room, I am theirs. They have 100% of my attention. And so my attention is valuable. Like that is really up there for me. But that also means that when I am away from the office, I need to unplug. And so that's a value. I value my personal time as well. So it's everybody needs to know what's most important to you. What do you value, and how that plays into your money story.
Yeah.
You mentioned this one, and I was laughing when you said it, because I have, and I'm not even kidding, I have these 2 letters on my desk, and they are, business related. They have to do with money. And I saw them on my desk this morning, and I just kind of scanned them and recognized that they were financial in nature. I have a meeting scheduled for my accountant on Friday, and I was like, I'll just look at that on Friday. And it's like, I felt kind of called out, LaQuesha. I'm just gonna say it. I feel like you kind of called me out because I did not read my financial notification. I actually avoided it because I'm like, oh, that's financial. No, don't want to look at it at all.
But it's so common among so many people.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, like, if you've had clients in the past who have had that problem and how you help them to get past that. Because I have to tell you, like, as much as I feel like I have things under control, there's a little bit of a cringy feeling when I see the notifications.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. They're like these 2 things on my desk right now. Advise us, oh wise one.
Yes. So that is so common among so many of my clients that come to me, where they tend to avoid, and usually in the beginning when they're having sessions with me, they actually won't do some of the work until they're like, listen, I'll be honest with you. I knew I had this appointment with you and I said, okay, I have to go and do this, but I really didn't want to do it. I really wanted to avoid it. So I have to do this. So what I do with my clients I get them to hold themselves accountable. And, this is where I say, bring in that support person who you're close to, who you're like, okay, just send me a text every day or at this time or every once a week to say, hey, did you open up that credit card bill, or did you look at your statements for the week? What did you do around your financial goals? So it may be something of that nature, or it may be where you're going to have to discipline yourself to just sit down and say, okay, I'm going to open this. We're going to not avoid it and look at it. And a lot of times we have to bring that awareness. So even as you're saying, like, it brings up this like cringe. Some people don't realize that they are avoiding, and it brings that up. So I may have my clients sit with themselves to say, well, what is happening in that moment that you do not want to open up the statement mail, that you're pushing it to the side, and it's bringing up that like, oh, like, what is those uneasy feelings that are happening? So we may dig a little deeper into like why that is happening, where that may be coming from, but it's also important for them to recognize it, and then to go ahead and open up those statements, open up whatever you're working on financially, and say, you know what? I got this. This is good. I work with a particular client who she did those same things where she avoided. She's a business owner, and she had a bookkeeper, and she would avoid her bookkeeper in some ways. And he would be chasing her, coming after her, and she was like, nope, he's so good to me, but I don't want to deal with it, anything financial. But she knew that. She knew, that was the case, and her working with me so that we could dig a little deeper into why that was happening, which we then related back to some trauma that happened in her childhood, which is why she avoided a lot of times when it came to money. But her working with me, she then got on her A game, and she was ready for her bookkeeper, and actually emailed him things, went over her numbers, and then was also ready for her accountant, her tax accountant. So I was like, wow, look at you. So it's things, those little things, when we recognize, we dig a little deeper, and then we do small things to hold ourselves accountable so we're not avoiding. So things of that nature.
I feel like of all the things that you've said, that one just made me feel really called out, just because that was and I get that. I always believe in having some sort of coaching, somebody who knows your next step better than you do, and they can pull you through to your next biggest goal. Yeah. But I had a coach one time, business coach, who she started out as a therapist like you. No, she started out as an accountant, and then she got her license as a therapist, and then she got her business coaching license. So I feel like I had a financial therapist, and I didn't even recognize it. And I remember being, and this was like early in, running our small town practice here. But I remember her like sitting with me and us looking at spreadsheets, and her saying to me things like, you have to know your numbers. And to the point where after working with her for a while, if anybody asked me any of my numbers,
yeah,
I knew them. Like, I could recite them right off the top of my head, because I wasn't afraid of the spreadsheet anymore. Yeah. I was like, okay, I know the spreadsheet. I know what the numbers are. Okay, this month doesn't look as good as last month did. And that puts me in the position of asking the questions why and making the changes, knowing the numbers makes sense. It helps.
Yes.
Absolutely. I love that one. That one, I feel like if people take nothing else away from our conversation today, I feel like they need to take away, don't avoid financial things.
No,
embrace it. Because true story, LaQuesha, whether you embrace it or you avoid it, still gonna be there.
That's right. It will be.
Only gonna get worse if it's a bad situation. The last thing that you said is don't have folks around who are the kind who crush your dreams. Have you ever had a client who experienced that, like had people around them who weren't really the right kind of people?
Yes, I did have a client who, and that. And the thing about that is sometimes that could also be close family around you, and you love your family, and I'm not saying don't have your, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, whoever that is, or around you. What I'm saying is sometimes those close people around you who you're like, okay, they're gonna crush my dreams because they don't understand it, and that's okay. And once you accept that it's okay that they do not understand where I'm going, but I still love them, and maybe when I go around them, we're not going to talk about my dreams. We're going to talk about other things. So when I say avoid those people, I mean you keep them at a distance, but you don't necessarily have to talk about your dreams with them, because again, it could be your close family. If it's your sister or your brother or someone like that, maybe you're just not talking about your dreams. You're talking about, what's going on with kids and what's happening in the family. There's other things that you're talking about, but you're just avoiding this particular topic, because again, it comes back to our mindset. And when you have, just as I said, to have those support people in the beginning, it comes back to those with the mindset, and even recognizing myself. As I mentioned to you, my mother, who credit cards was her thing, and she's not one that I would go to in regards to trying to shift with credit cards. If anything, right now, I have actually shifted her mindset, which is great. She wants to make sure I put that out there. But like, she's not somebody I would go to. I love her to death, but that is just, it comes back to those, having that mindset and having those people around you. So I have had clients who have come and they're like, well, I really have this particular goal that I want to hit, and I know that I can do that. And maybe I have my friend, Sally here in the corner who has my back, and she's really motivating and encouraging me to like keep going because she's done it before. But I have my sister over here who's saying those things aren't possible. You getting out of debt is just not possible. Are you paying off student loans? That will never happen. So saying things like that, again, it comes back to that mindset. So that person, they had Sally, who's their friend, in their corner cheering them on to pay those student loans and everything. And they're able to then do that by changing that mindset that they have. All right, I have a goal at the end. My goal is to pay this. So maybe I'm going to go see my sister, but we're not going to talk about student loans. We're not going to talk about the debt that I have. So we're going to talk about other things.
There are so many other things that we can talk about. So that's really a place where you can draw that line, have some boundaries around the type of conversation that you have. If you were to give us one thing to do, one little piece of homework that we can do to start working on our financial wellness, what would that be?
The one thing that I would give you guys to start to do is what I call sit back and reflect and start to look at what your money story wants to be. And when I say money story, that comes back to your belief, your values, your culture. What do you want your money story to be? Because I strongly feel that we can rewrite our money stories no matter what that looks like from previously.
So how do we go about writing our money story? Do we just pull out our journal and write about what we would like our life to look like financially?
Yeah, so that is one way. Actually, you can, what comes back to digging deep into what do you value and where do you want to see your financial life go? What does that look like for you? For example, it may be, well, I value the quality time spent with my family, and that looks like we enjoy going on vacation, so I want to go on vacations, which costs some money. So my goal is to then be able to set aside a certain amount of money so that I can go on those vacations with my family, to have, again, those continuing quality time with them. So it again comes back to that reflection and sitting down to look at your value and writing, well, what does your money story now look like for you?
Okay, I love that. I hope that our viewers, listeners, friends, guests, special people will actually tune into that. And if you would like to go on over to our Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group, Grow Smarter, Not Harder.com/Facebook, free to join. We're just going to ask you one question if you feel like you're the kind of person who is open to supporting others. And once you answer yes to that, we'll welcome you in. But you can come on into the group and we'll have some conversation in there about what your money story is and what your next steps would have to be in order to get to where you want to go. That's excellent, outstanding homework. Thank you, LaQuesha. Any specific tips or maybe plug into that you found particularly interesting and helpful?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? It went out for a second.
Sure. Any resources that you have access to that you found particularly helpful that you'd love to share with us?
Yes. So I am big on doing Audible, the audiobooks. So I really, really enjoy doing a lot of personal development on that, and also podcasts. Currently, what I am listening to is The Psychology of Money, which again digs deeper into why, like how we view our money, why we do certain things with our money. So it's definitely a book that's worth either reading or listening to. When it comes to the podcast, I'm big with podcasts, and I'm currently listening to the Melanin and Money, which they are business owners discussing real life things that happen with business, but not just them owning their business, but also being Black and owning a business and what that looks like with their money. So that's another great podcast to listen to.
Those are outstanding. I'm gonna definitely have to check those out. And of course, for those of you who are not part of our Ladies Power Lunch group, we do have book club. So I will add your recommendation to our book club list, and we'll take a listen, see what that sounds like. That was a really outstanding conversation, LaQuesha. At the end of every single show, I pull a card. I have so many card decks and whatnot. And basically, when I pull a card, it's just to give us a nice thought for the day. But what I have found is that it's always the right card for the conversation that we're having. So let's see, what does Divine want us to know today? This one says inner power. I'm pulling from the Divine Abundance deck. I figured we're talking about money. Let's pull from a deck that's all about abundance. And this one is by Tosha Silver. She is the one who writes the book, It's Not Your Money. And basically, I love that book because it talks about how you're here with divine purpose and that you actually need to make money. So go make the money. I love that book. I listen to it probably once a year. Anyway, the card says, inner power, give me the courage and the power to do what must be done. What are you getting from this card? What's saying for you?
I love that. Because I feel like it says to me that, again, I'm out here for a particular reason, to talk about financial wellness and therapy to people. And I need that encouragement. And we talked about having those people around us, those support people. So I love that card was perfect for everything that we just talked about.
Yeah, I love it too. And I feel like, again, feeling so called out here, but I feel as though it's telling me to go look at my financial papers that are sitting on it be, I don't know. This has been such a wonderful conversation. I'm really sure, LaQuesha, that our audience is going to want to connect with you. How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so you can definitely go to my website at www.freedomlifetherapy.com, and you can definitely follow me on Instagram, and you can definitely send me a direct message on there at themoneytherapist_1. So definitely reach out to me and connect with me. I am here for it all.
Are you on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn as LaQuesha Clemons, so you can find me on there. So I'm definitely there too.
And a lot of our viewers love to know when our guests are authors. So I know you have a journal that you have authored, which can actually help us to walk through our money story and get things tightened up in the financial department. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So on Amazon, I do have a journal called it's more than just a budget. It is a weekly guided financial wellness journal. This journal goes through a lot of what we talked about today, actually, where it sits down and it reflects on your values. It talks about money stories, your goals, also gratitude, because that's extremely important as well, where you're able to reflect on that every week, but also your income and your expenses. So you're looking at your money every single week and setting those goals and sitting back and being able to see, what is happening with things financially, but also how do you start to change your mindset around your money goals. So definitely check out my journal that I have on Amazon. It's more than just a budget.
I love that. LaQuesha, this has been a lovely conversation. I look forward to you being back on the show to share more with us about how we can really get a handle on our money, but also our money mindset. This has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thanks everybody for watching. As always, I invite you. This is a wide open invitation. If you're a woman in business and you're looking to grow and you feel like, you know what, growing in a smarter way is going to be the best way for you to move forward, then I invite you, come join us. We're having conversations over in our Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group every single day. You'll be able to meet and connect with LaQuesha and many other amazing, brilliant women just like her, and a few amazing men as well. So come on over, come connect with us. Just go to growsmarter.com/Facebook. I hope to see you there. And of course, I'll see y'all on the next show. Bye, everyone.